Hey, what's up guys? My name is Cherno, welcome back to Game Engine Series Day, where we have our Game Engine Series live stream. How's everyone doing today? I'm gonna just jump into it, I think, today, because time is ticking. I do actually have a few different things I wanted to talk to you guys about, because there's been like a little bit of a change of plans. Not really like a change of plans, but just something that I've been pondering that might actually end up being a better idea. I might kind of talk about that more towards like the middle of the live stream, just so more people kind of tune in. But yeah, like we'll see. Just tweet this out. Let's see how today goes. So basically what we're going to be doing today is we're going to continue on with looking at community stuff, because obviously we didn't get through that last time. So I think the plan is still kind of to more or less clear stuff up. What's up guys? Peter, welcome, and everyone else as well. We're gonna kind of just see music's kind of loud for me. We're gonna kind of see you know, what else we have, like basically in GitHub, that we can kind of take a look at before we start moving on to like new things. So again, like I don't really want to spend too much time on this, and like last time, like we did realize that there is quite a lot of stuff to go through, and I think mostly the stuff that we kind of stopped with looking at was like I think there was a line feature and the non-QWERTY stuff, the non-QWERTY keyboard stuff, which again, like to me, I still think is probably like I don't know exactly what I want to do with that at the moment, but luckily we don't really have to deal with necessarily all these things right now. Okay, so added uniform location cache for performance. I think I know what this is, and I think it's completely useless. Yeah, we don't need this at all. So so switching to Alcon, deprecating OpenGL. So basically, the deal with this is, in case you guys are interested, is basically it's just a little bit faster usually to cache the uniform location. So instead of having every time you want to like upload some uniform data to OpenGL, you need to ask for, well, you need to provide a uniform location, but if you cache that inside like a map, that tends to sometimes be faster. It really depends, I think, on maybe the driver, and well, in general, I'm fairly sure in my experience it is actually faster. So this is actually a pretty decent, this is a good thing as far as I'm aware. Not that I've looked at it in like the last 5 years probably, but yeah, this is overall not a bad thing. However, Zero Access here. However, this isn't something that we need at all, because obviously we're going to be switching to Vulkan. Vulkan doesn't even have uniforms, so different thing entirely. Okay, added more functions for input polling. So what's this? Added 4 functions to the existing input class. Is key down, is key up, is mouse button down, is mouse button up. And we didn't have those, I guess. Input on update, and then that way we can just, I guess, ask. Oof. Yeah, I don't think. What's up, Bob Taco and Alfredo? Good morning from Brazil. It's pretty cool. How are you doing over there in Brazil? Oh, but this is comparing this anyway. So why adding all the key codes then? So this looks like it's added key codes, which we already have to some extent, I know, these days. And then, yeah, there's like some map of like states, and which is weird. Like, I don't know why there's a map of states, considering that looks like this code actually asks GLFW for the state of the key. So therefore, do we need a state? Yeah. Oh, right. It gets the state from here. See, this is just weird. Why, if you're going to call GLFW get key, why do that now to retrieve the state of every single key? If you could just make this be what you do. when you when you call is key pressed. Yeah, not sure. Alright, so next up. So yeah, I'm gonna probably say, can I just close it? I don't really, 5 days ago. Ah, man. This person, I thought I was gonna say like, 2020, like whatever. But turns out this person has actually like, I guess really wants this to be merged in. I guess I can leave it open. Because like, yeah, we probably do need those functions. I just don't like the way they're implemented, and I don't really care for like, talking too much and discussing it now, because there's bigger fish to fry. All right. Oh no. Regular expressions. Why? No. Well, luckily I can just say that that's obsolete because we have a shader compiler now anyway. Obsolete SPURV. Powering through these. Implemented feature event category plain enum to enum class. Yeah. That's probably not bad. Oh, but no. I think, right, and then you add your own operators. I don't really, man. Okay, so the reason why we use an enum and not an enum class for event categories, so see, there used to be event category application instead of like an enum class. The reason why is because enums in C++, not enum classes, just enums, they're basically just integers. And you can like get away with like, if you have an enum, which is meant to be used as like a bit field, then you can just treat them as integers and everything's fine. So in other words, you can like OR them, you can AND them, you can do whatever you want with them in terms of bits because they're just integers. But with enum classes, even though yes, the underlying data is still an integer, the way that the actual use, like the syntactical semantics around them, for whatever reason, means that you can't just treat them like integers. Meaning if you try and like, and them, and two of them together or whatever, it'll get an error and you'll have to cast each of them to like integers. So you'll have to like take your event category application, for example, cast that to an int, and then you can like AND it with something else or it with something else. So, which is like super annoying. So that's why I was like, let's just leave it as an enum because these are meant to be used like I just mentioned. And I don't think there's really anything wrong with that because if we take a look at like, that's probably like in the event system, right? So if we take a look at the event system, you can see this is an event class, but this is an event category. If you really don't like the fact that they're leaking here, you can always add them in like some kind of namespace, which I guess is what you maybe should do because yeah, like obviously this is not like its namespace or anything. So you can kind of do something like this and change the name to like, whatever. Which I think personally is a better solution than making it an enum class for whatever reason, because it's the right thing to do. And then like having to implement this stuff, bro. Like, are you joking? This is just too much, man. Like, and the thing is, like, you don't need all of these. Like, sure, like, probably OR and AND is enough. Like, exclusive OR and like in the invert operator, whatever. And then, well, no, but then I guess you want OR equals and like it's just too much, man. Like, because that's the other thing, right? You've made this a class now. Congratulations, you. But you've added all of this stuff, and it's obviously only just for this event category. This is specific to event category. Like, is this not overkill? What do you guys think on stream? Because you know what I mean? Because what you're saying is you're kind of being like, you know, for the sake of being able to literally write the word class here, because apparently that's more modern or whatever, you're putting all of this extra code in. Like, why? So my kind of preference with this is just if you really are kind of treating it as a bit field, then why don't you just use an enum? You know? So yeah, that's kind of why I don't really like this. Russian Ronin, thanks for the sub. Oh, actually, fan of Cherno gifted 2 subs. Thanks, fan of Cherno, for the support. I always don't know, like, if someone's subscribing or if someone's being gifted. Depends where I look. But yeah, congratulations, I guess, to Russian Ronin and Locarus19, who are now subs. Yeah, like, I don't know. This is insane. Actually, let's look at the conversation. My favorite part of any pull request. The plain enum was causing a warning. Oh, I see. Okay, so this is hinged off of a compiler warning. Enum class should always be used instead of plain enums. Oh, I hate this garbage. Let's see what Stack Overflow says. Oh, my eyes. My eyes are burning. Okay. And for some reason, my dark reader does not work. This is just... Oh, I hate this. I hate this stuff so much. Why? Oh, dude. Anyway, I think we could probably just pragma push warning disable for like something, or just, you know what, that should just globally be disabled in the compiler, I think, that warning, because that's rubbish. In this video, or in this stream, Cherno gets very upset at pull request number 332. You know why, guys? Like, you also have to realize, like, if I seem ruthless in these live streams, because I honestly think like last time we were looking at this stuff and I was a bit roasty, and I feel like I'm now here. You know why? It's because I've spent the whole day. It's 6:30 p.m. right now. I spent the whole day like programming and working on stuff. So like I've been like hardcore just working, and I'm working on some pretty interesting stuff in Hazel at the moment. So like it's pretty complicated. Like I'm changing a lot of stuff, and you know, it's like my brain basically is very much like depleted by the end of the day, is my point. And so, you know what I mean? So after a hard days of work, of actually doing work, not getting lost in like... So the reason why you want to use enum classes instead of enums is because they have scope, and I could see bugs happening if you misuse them, and so we should switch to... You know what I mean? Instead of that, doing actual work and then getting exhausted by it, and then it's like, all right, let's have a chat about whether or not to use... This reminds me of like literally EA and Frostbite. Like I don't want to roast too much, but like there were conversations that we had here in Melbourne with... No, okay, I'll stop. I probably shouldn't burn too many bridges. I was gonna like name them like cities and stuff, but I won't. Anyway, I'll say this though. I'll just say that there were some conversations and some message threads about whether or not we should be using like a uint or an int. And things like that just make me want to shoot myself, because... And I wasn't involved per se in that conversation. It was like a colleague of mine, and I didn't write any of the code involved in that. But it's like, guys, if you all just relax, maybe we could actually build some software instead of like just getting stuck on like every line of code of a code review being like, you know, oh, should this be here? Should that be here? If it's an actual piece of production software and not just like, well, I don't know, like I feel like when I do my code review videos on YouTube, that's just content, right? And so you're trying to make it entertaining, you're trying to point out absolutely maybe everything and maybe even some silly things that I wouldn't even bat an eye on if I was actually like, okay, let's get this thing shipped, you know? So it's a bit different, but yeah, I think some of this stuff is absolutely garbage. So yes, is that too passive? Is that too passive aggressive? Done. Maybe that thumbs up was a bit mean. Added .bat file for removing solution and build files. Oh, dude. Yes, lovely Santa. Thank you. And the 4 people who upvoted this. Hey, Vague Lobster upvoted it. Nice. Vague Lobster's probably like desperately like in the stream at the moment. Is he in the stream? Yeah, he is, I think. In the stream, like looking at what I'm doing and quickly like, you know, thumbsing up the stuff that I'm probably about to agree with. Whilst closing his pull requests as he was last time. Anyway, I hope, like, I don't know, maybe I'm in a bit of a roasty mood, but, like, I hope I'm doing a decent job in explaining why I feel like I feel about these issues, and also why, you know, why I'm roasting. I hope I'm not just roasting for no, like, I hope it's clear why I'm roasty. Right? Because this Game Engine series reboot is turning into Roasty Tuesdays or whatever. But anyway, see, oh, it's the Cybernet hacker. It's the same guy. Oh man. I hope I'm not like throwing hate his way. I'm sure his heart's in the right place. But like, this is what I'm talking about. Like a batch file to automatically delete Visual Studio solution files and build projects so that we can make a thorough rebuild. Like, why? There's literally no need. He just wants to help. Well, yeah, but again, I'm nothing against the person. As I said, his heart's in the right place. I'm just pointing out why the stuff he has done is not what we want. No, and who just said, you who said maybe he's moved on with his life. Look, this was in 2020 by him, right? 5 days ago, bro. He's keeping this up to date. So he has not moved on. Anyway, nothing but love for this guy, right? It's just that his pull requests are a little bit, how should I put this? Just unnecessary is kind of really the word I'm looking for. But yeah, so as Lovely Santa is saying, when we rebuild the script, it will generate new Visual Studio files, so it's going to override it. So we don't really, this isn't like really like a clean build. Well, even a clean build, like we'll obviously delete all intermediates and stuff like that, but yeah, I don't know. I had seen Cherno maybe once or twice manually delete bin. Yeah, that's a bit different. Bin and bin int are a little bit different because of the way that the Visual Studio compiler works. Sometimes it can't clean up absolutely everything if files have renamed, and I don't know. There's some, maybe that's gone now. That might be a habit from like 2015 or something. So that's why I delete them. But it's also because it's very easy to delete those folders, right? You want to delete those folders. You just go, yep, and just delete. Like, they're right here, you know what I mean? But I don't really delete project files or anything. So I'm not sure whether the option do a thorough cleanup, but again, a thorough cleanup, what does that even mean? And also you can obviously just, because they're not committed into version control, I guess they wouldn't appear as additional files in Git, would they? So you can't just like delete them in fork or whatever, because they'd be in the Git ignore, but whatever. And Premake has a way of doing this. No, this is just unnecessary. Grainer K Brand, thank you for the sub. I would just really rather not have batch files that delete files in Hazel for no reason. Like, that just seems a bit unnecessary and possibly dangerous. Someone just sneaks in a little modification and just deletes, like, goes back a directory and deletes stuff outside of the repository. Guys, when you come to my, like, I was gonna say when you become my age, but I'm not particularly old, I don't think. I'm 27. But when you get to where I am in life right now, and the way that I feel, having like a 5.5-month-old baby at home, an entire engine to somehow create while making videos and making a second smaller 2D engine, and also running a business with 2 employees, and like, you know, all of this stuff going on, you become a bit more ruthless because you just need to get the work done, and anything that stands in your way of doing stuff, like, oh, should it be an enum class or should it be an enum, you just learn to optimize that out. And at the moment, that's why, like, my patience for these things is a bit different. I feel like a few years ago, maybe, or like let's just say like 5 years ago, right? 2017 Cherno. 2017 Cherno was like just starting up the C++ series. He was just like, he was 2 years into working at EA, which was fun. He was single. You know, he kind of didn't really, like, he seen, and he was kind of still young. He was like, what, 22? He was a guy who you could probably have a conversation between enums and enum classes, and he would probably entertain that conversation. He'd probably be like, yes, you make a good point. Yes, I think we should switch to an enum class. But now, 2022 Cherno has no patience for that anymore. So that's the state of things. Boom. Look at that, down to 58. Added a custom event system. Either this is obsolete or this is ridiculous, considering we have. Code is super wacky, but it works. It's got 2 upvotes. What do you mean a custom event system? Oh, is this to allow for custom events as opposed to, what is this for? Oh no, not any. I don't like any. Yeah. What? Why? Why did you add this, man? Okay, guys, let me level with you. Let me level with you guys. Not even in a mean way. Я не по злому, as we would say in Russian. I'm not saying this in an angry, mean way. What I'm saying is, when you write stuff like this, you need to explain why. Added support for custom events. Cool. What's a custom event? Step 1. What's a custom event? Step 2. Why have you added this to Hazel? Right? Because someone could come in here and be like, oh, I added printing support so we could print, like, you know, the scene on your printer. It's like, thank you for adding that. That's really, really necessary. And see, Sleepy Rhino, when you say stuff like, why not? That's also part of the problem. I'll tell you why not. because every single thing that makes its way into this code base now effectively needs to be maintained or supported to some degree. Otherwise, we have this code base filled with features that maybe partially work. And we're kind of at that stage at the moment with Big Boy Hazel, which is why I'm about to do a quality pass over it. And actually, I've pretty much started doing that, and I'm going to make some videos on that, so that should be fun. Please someone do PR to an open source engine for actual literal printing support. I thought the series has ended. Yeah, so did I, but I guess we're still here. Anyway, so yes, like, again, nie po zlomu. Not in a mean way, but Wise is here. And why is Clever Source saying this is actually really awesome? And see, the thing that I don't like about this as well, open source was a mistake. That's funny. The thing that I don't like about this as well is it kind of bypasses the way we do everything. Like, this is kind of like our event dispatcher, but different. It's like, so now we have these two sets of, like, it's kind of like the event system now has two sets of code bases, two sets of like dispatches that are both slightly different for some reason. And yeah, now okay, so now I'm beginning, now finally, after like spending 5 minutes, I'm beginning to maybe see why this was introduced. So that we can, it's basically a messaging system we can use between, I guess, layers or something, for stuff like, oh, the player was killed or whatever, right? So you have these events. The thing is, the event system is not meant for this stuff. The event system is meant for system events. If you reverse event system, you get system event. It's meant for like system events, meaning like application events, window events, input events, that kind of stuff. On a system level, on a layer level. And layers, again, have nothing to do with gameplay. Layers are basically just... Layers are essentially just a way to divide, to architect your application. That's it. So they're on an application level. They're not on a game level. They're like literally something we would use maybe in like the Hazel runtime so that we could have different parts of the application that might sit on top of each other, might render stuff, might process stuff, and might receive and possibly block events, right? So it's things like having like a base kind of game layer, and then maybe you have like a UI debug layer or something that goes on top of that and might soak up events, and then you just simply don't ship that debug layer when you ship the game. So that's not what you're supposed to do. So yes, you are encouraged to roll your own event system for your game, because the game that you're making probably wouldn't be in C++. Maybe in Hazel 2D at the moment it kind of is, but if you look at Hazel 3D, you would build all that stuff in C#, because C# is how you make the game. And yes, you can obviously call into C++ code from C#. That's one of the cool things about Hazel. Makes that a lot easier. You could do that in a much easier and better way than Unity, where with Unity, maybe you can load some native DLL, but it's a bit weird. Hazel, you have the whole code base here, so you can do literally anything in C++ and interact with the engine directly, however you like, do whatever you want, and then just simply call that from C#, right? So maybe you do some stuff in C++, but most of it's going to be in C#, and definitely high-level systems such as like, you know, event messaging for the game would be in C#. So that's why like this doesn't really need to exist. the core engine. Okay. But yeah, overall not like a bad idea, I guess, but just not something we need. Added more, okay, try catch for YAML load file, alright. By close range. If you try to load a corrupt non-YAML file, the engine will hard crash on you. It's because the function throws an exception, and that exception have caught. Okay, yeah, so yeah, we probably should just catch the exception, shouldn't we? Yeah. I like this idea. I just don't think... What does this do? So this doesn't really do anything. This just throws an error, but doesn't really... Yeah, better return false. Okay, so here's a suggested change. Commit suggestion. Add suggestion to batch. To a batch that can be applied as a single commit. Yeah, that's probably what we want. Yeah. So see return false. Yeah, okay. Okay, add suggestion to batch, which I've never done before in my life, so we'll see if this works. Is that what I want? So has this now been applied? Yes. So now I can merge this in, right? Branch has conflicts. Okay. What the heck is this gonna do? Wait, has this already been done? Oh, it's already been done. That's awkward. So what is this? Scene serializer. Lol. I like this though. So we'll actually add that in. Why are you upset? Okay. Probably should test that or something. Number 336. I'm just doing a little commit here, just with this in here. Merged in. See, I'm nice from close range. That can be nice. So that's 8FA40C4. Okay. All right. We should maybe do the same in Big Hazel. Yeah, probably. Okay, git client is fork. It's very good. Recommend. Added rename button to right click menu in scene hierarchy. Oh. Lovely Santa with the roasting. Leave some roasting to me. No, I'm joking. I have plenty of roasting. Why not create an issue for the feature idea first? After approval, create a PR for it. Well, yeah, sure, guys. you guys are telling the story. This is community stuff. I never asked anyone to do any of this. Add a simple, yeah. So this we've decided, you know, still contains like these changes, and there's some renaming thing. Yeah, this is probably going to be obsolete. I am probably just going to close this because this person has... I'll just say obsolete because this person hasn't replied to Lovely Santa and it's been like almost a year, so we'll just close it. It's not really obsolete, but we'll keep that a secret between us, alright, stream? Okay, good. We're on the second page. How long are we? 30 minutes. Yeah, wonderful. It's going so well. All right, caching transformation matrix in transform component. Yeah. On a scale of 1 to 10, how much, stream, are you enjoying this current stream? Like, do you and how, like, do you want me to dig deep into these issues? Do you want me to just skim through them? Because I mean, I would just go Control A close, but 7, 9, nothing below a 7. Oh, 6. Astrophysics is gone with the 6. Solid second monitor action 10. Oh, okay, good. Meaning on your second monitor, sure. 11, go, 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 roast. I have never been more entertained in my life. More interesting than everyone else I follow. Oof, Airbus, you should follow some different people. How much do you like it, Jan? Oh, look at Peter. Peter's so kind, asking me what I think. I guess I'm reasonably enjoying it, just because it's interesting to see what the community has done. And again, even though I might seem a bit roasty, I'm still interested in it. It's just like it's just because I just noticed there's still 2 pages left. I'm just wondering if we just marathon stream this and get them literally all done tonight, because I really don't want to have a 3rd episode of the Game Engine series where it's like back at looking at pull requests and not actually doing, you know, development. That's why. But if you guys are enjoying it, which you seem to be, then we can keep going. All right, so this PR doesn't fix any issue. It's funny. It's just because they've copied the template, but it's just funny when pull requests start with, so I haven't actually done anything. This reminds me of that guy who like did some readme pull request. He like modified the readme in like some Epic Games repository that was like the welcome to the Epic Games repositories or whatever, and that emailed 400,000 people, including me. This is what I mean. It's kind of like a pull request. It doesn't do anything. But anyway, so this PR updates transformation component. Why is it called transformation component? Shouldn't it be called transform component? I think it is. Okay. For hopefully better performance. Hopefully. I love this. I love when major changes happen to the engine for hopefully better performance. And I'm calling this a major change because obviously modifying the data that's inside a transfer matrix, which I'm assuming has somewhat happened. Oh. Okay. Okay, I see what this guy's done. See, the thing that I like as well is that, like, again, this discussion's great, but looking at the code is just so much easier, isn't it? Anyway, what this person has done is they've basically said that every time we need to, you know, transforms in Hazel at the moment, and as always, are stored component-wise, meaning we have a transform component, and it's just translation, rotation, scale as a bunch of vec3s. So we have 9 floats. They represent basically the transformation state of any object. Then we have a get transform function, which creates an actual transform matrix out of these values. Now, this person has decided to quote unquote optimize it by basically saying that what we can do is only create the transform matrix if these values change, by basically caching them. Now, I don't think this will improve performance. Certainly not, I would imagine, when using SIMD. Because the amount of checks that are happening here, along with extra data... Oh, hold on. No, hang on. Where is this being stored? Oh. No. No. You can't add all of this memory to a transform component. I rest my case. Damn. What's the problem? I don't see it. So, okay. So a transform component in memory is these three things, right? Which obviously, if you kind of calculate this, we have 9 floats, which is like 36 bytes of memory, but it's not really that important. The problem is when you have a the whole point of an entity component system is everything's so bright. The whole point of an ECS is that we want to keep memory that we use in batch operations kind of close together. We want to keep it optimized as close to each other as possible. So in other words, instead of having like, you know, an entity with all the stuff that it contains, like a transform component, maybe some mesh data, maybe like some audio, whatever, right? We instead have just transform components. These are my transform components for like entity 0, entity 1, and they're all in contiguous memory, right? And then the idea is when it's time for us, data oriented. When it's time for us to perform operations on these numbers, the CPU, taking my time with this diagram, the CPU can just be like, please give me some memory, right? It asks for some memory and it gets like everything basically. Because when the CPU asks for some RAM, it doesn't just get like 1 byte or 4 bytes or whatever, it gets like an entire block of it. And I have no idea how much that value is. It would depend on the CPU really. So what happens is this whole chunk of memory that it prefetches gets put into the cache. And there's 3 levels of cache, but let's go with like the L1 cache here. So when you're iterating through all of this data, you've already got a little bit of memory from ahead of it. And what you can actually do with this then is you can obviously do whatever operations you had to do, and everything else is already kind of in the cache ready to go, so you don't need to fetch it from RAM again. And by fetching it from RAM, you're paying a fairly significant performance penalty of like, I don't know, what do people say, like 200 CPU cycles or so, right? So getting some memory that is not in the cache because you've run out of room in your cache or whatever, you have to fetch more. So the whole idea, and that's why we like to use entity component systems, because when we're, for example, calculating world transforms or trying to render like a mesh or whatever, we need a whole bunch of transforms because we'll be iterating through every object in our scene. But we don't necessarily care, like at the time of calculating, say, world transforms or whatever, we might not necessarily care about like, I don't know, what color the entity is, because that's a material thing. I mean, that might not even be in the entity component system, but whatever. The point is we might not care about like, you know, the entity's box collider or whatever. We just care about like, you know, just give me the data. So the problem is when you decide to take that transform component, to take this transform component, let me just make this like so we can see the entire file, right, which contains originally translation, rotation, scale, and then you add literally more data than we had before, meaning that, again, what did we say this was, like 36 bytes, right, 12. So we have 36 bytes, and then to those 30, so why is that significant? Because the lower this is, the more obviously fits into the CPU cache, because the CPU cache is obviously finite. And when you preload memory, if you have less memory to load, more of it will be there, meaning less of this. Yeah, if you had every one of these being 360, then you can obviously fit 10 times less of them in. So when you go ahead and you add another 24 bytes plus 64 bytes, right? So what's 24 plus 64? Like 88, right? It's getting late in the evening. Sure, 88 bytes. So now your 36 plus 88, help me out, stream. 94, 124, 124, 124. Then this now is 124 bytes. That's so much. That's more than 2 of these. What's 36 times 3? It's more than 3 of these. Cherno does maths. So you guys can kind of see the problem. Suddenly, your transform component is now like this big or whatever, right? Which is absurd. Now, how many, let's just say this is the size of my CPU cache. How many do you fit? Oh, you fit 1 instead of 4 or whatever. You fit 1 and a bit. So in general, like, we would like to, if possible, keep this stuff as small as possible. Now, again, obviously that's not always possible, right? Well, with data-oriented design in general, of course, packing memory a lot of the times is, in fact, what you want to do. But that's not always possible, and it's not always, like, I don't want to make this out as if it's, like, a priority that you guys need to be like, oh, no, that VEC 4, it could really be a VEC 3. Like, don't, just relax a little bit. Because it's not really that bad. And again, even if you do have to, like, it's very difficult to optimize CPU cache, like, hits and misses. Like, there are tools that will literally tell you, like, hey man, you have this many misses, you have this many hits, like, everything's good. But that level of optimization and like, you know, profiling and all that stuff is usually unnecessary. All I'm saying though is that when you think about the cost of caching something, right? Or when you think about caching as a particular performance benefit, it's very, very easy for inexperienced engineers to go in and assume that caching is always faster. If I cache this, I won't need to calculate it again. But what you don't see is the fact that if you cache this, you still need to, first of all, do a whole range of checks, right? But the real cost, I think, here is going to be you also have all of this additional memory. And having additional memory is never free. Because whilst the actual memory usage is extremely insignificant, because what, I don't know, well, still 88 bytes, like, oh, whatever, man, I have 32 gigabytes in my computer. Yes, that's not the problem. The problem is the CPU now has to work harder because you have more memory to process. And that can make stuff actually slower. So I think that this is what makes it a really bad thing. The fact that suddenly, as we mentioned, transform components are now like 3.5 times the size. That's unacceptable, right? But the other thing that I think makes this a bit like what you have to consider when you actually look at this caching change is that what is the cost of calculating this every time? Because there's a lot of scenarios in which myself, like 6 years ago, I remember honestly when I was working on Sparky, I was writing a batch renderer and I wanted to make it really fast. And I did some experiments, and there were so many cases in which I just thought that I'll just cache it. And it wasn't like this. It wasn't like this thing where we can do comparisons and see if it needs recalculating. No, this was literally like, do I recalculate these values every frame, or for every object I'm rendering every frame? And this was a batch renderer, so I was probably testing it with like 1 million quads or like 100,000 quads or whatever. Do I recalculate these numbers every time? Or do I just do them once at the start and store them in memory? And guess what? Recalculating was faster because the memory was more local, and every time I was kind of doing that stuff, it was just faster to like add or multiply 2 numbers together than it was to suddenly reach for some other memory that was somewhere else. So, yeah. Can you take a look at the thread? He mentioned the 88 bytes, and I'm curious what he wrote about it. Okay. And obviously, like, you know, in a lot of cases, if you have a dynamic thing, then things do have to be recalculated. If you have a static mesh that doesn't move, then that transform can kind of be fixed. But yeah. Did they mention the 88 bytes? Oh, this. The cost for better performance is transform component. What I love about this is they've literally used 3 different terms. Transformation component, transform component, which is the correct one, and transformer component. This is incredible. But anyway, again, the thing is, the taking more memory for caching values, what I suspect again is this person is only considering the memory usage, not the CPU performance difference, which is really where it hurts, not the memory use. Who cares about memory usage? But yeah, so that's kind of a problem. The other thing is, like, obviously, like, transform components themselves, like, there's a lot of calculating that happens with that, because you know, you have hierarchies, you have things getting like modified by physics that need changing. Like, there's a lot of like building up a transform component, especially a world transform component, you know, because games typically, if you looked at any game in Unity, right, you have your parent entities, then you have like just 5 generations, if not more, of children. They're all kind of nested entities, right? You need to get the world, the absolute kind of position of the entity in the world, so that you can actually render them and do physics on them and do whatever on them, right? So the thing is, when it comes time to do that as well, like, we'll probably have a discussion about, you know, how maybe it would be a good idea to actually extend this by having some kind of cached world transform within here. But I think eventually what we'll probably end up doing is something that we'll have in Hazel 3D, which we don't at the moment as well, which is we'll probably have some kind of like world transform component as a separate component, because it makes a lot of sense to do something like that, where we can just have the fully calculated value instead of having to like either ask for it or every time. And then also, because of the way this will be laid out in memory, it'll be possible to just run through that and batch process, like batch work out all the world transforms if we have to, or probably better yet, set them on demand when like transform changes, update the world transform as well, or something like that. Depending on, like, we'll probably do some more tests on that, but that's kind of one idea. So yeah, that's efficient. Okay, cool. So that's your caching thing. So yeah, guys, just be careful with caches, okay? That's the main takeaway from this. Like, just be careful. Like, you might think the caching something is good, but maybe do some profiling. Again, obviously it depends what it is. Caching is very, very useful, but if you use it absolutely everywhere, just be careful. Fixed missing font in sandbox. Oof. I bet this is probably not necessary anymore. Sorry, describe the issue. Missing fonts cause sandbox project to get an assertion flag. I think this is probably obsolete, right? Oh, sandbox project. What's the deal with sandbox? Does that even run? Let's see if sandbox runs. Yeah. That seems upset. Oh, well, I can't load anything. We can probably set the working directory to be something else. Let's try that. Oh, it's made my thing permanently red. Alright, that does work. Did we get any... Oh, I don't want the red thing. This is fun. I remember these days. Oh. Try and follow that with your eyes. I don't know what it'll be like on stream, but that's trippy. Square color. We don't have a square, do we? Oh, we do have a square. It's here. 405 quads and 2 draw calls. Cool. This is like a little batch rendering test, I think. Alright. So yeah, I don't see any font issues. So obsolete. Now, what's the deal with this though? 11 files changed, bro. Oh, because he added the font. I was gonna say, how many files do you need to change that? Yeah, this is obsolete. We've got Open Sans already, I'm pretty sure. I think I just forgot to push it, and then they just added it. All right, going through these. How many left? 53. Wonderful. Application will now use NVIDIA card if available. Obsolete because we're switching to Vulkan. Yeah, none of this junk anymore. We're gonna use a real graphics API soon. Edit. Switching. Done. Okay. Now I can directly create sprite and camera entity. Directly, as opposed to what exactly? Oh, no. So this requires some UI design, ultimately. But yes, like I definitely don't want it to be just right click. Like, you know, we should have like, you know, right click, create. No, we're still in this. Why can't we right click here? Oh, we can. Oh, it needs something in there. Yeah, I think we'll have like right click. Yeah, like the big boy engine. Yeah, Peter's got it right. So I don't know. I mean, we could merge this in, I guess. It requires, oh, I'm GUI. The thing is, like, I don't know. I think that, like, I don't know what to say to this person. Lovely Santa impact suggestion. Yeah, like, no, this is good overall. It's just that, like, see, this is the thing, guys. Like, I don't know. I'm not like some open source software fanatic. Like, I don't really care about it. Like, not in like a mean way again. It's not that I don't care about it. It's like, as in, I don't personally get excited about the concept of open source software. And the reason why I'm saying this now is because I don't know what the kind of etiquette is. Like, in my opinion, you know, this is something that, like, how do you deal with this, right? Because what I could do is I could write to this person who has probably moved on with his life, unlike that other guy. Because this is from like a year and a half ago. I could write to him and be like, hey man, so please don't like commit imgui.ini because that's like our layout file. You don't need that. And also, you know, there's maybe some merge conflicts that need to be addressed. Or I could just take these like 10 lines of code and just copy and paste them in. Right? Like, what do you do? What do you guys do? What is the etiquette? I'm gonna have to plug my camera in, otherwise it's gonna run out of battery. What's that cable? Make a GitHub bot. Yell at people for you. Copy paste if urgent, useful, and leave comments. Hire Santa to solve the conflicts. It's not, I can solve the conflicts myself. It's just I'm more saying like, you know, because if I merge it in as a pull request, oh, the guy appears as a contributor and it's exciting and it's cool. But if I just copy and paste this and fix the conflicts myself and commit it like a normal person, then maybe that guy will get upset because it's his code. Okay. Camera has been plugged in. Now we can go all night. I think some people use GitHub contributions as part of their CV. Close source it, done. Okay, well, Lucid TV saying this guy needs to fix the merge conflicts. He wants contribution recognition, I would think. I feel like anyone who probably is merging this stuff in to this stupid engine probably wants to be mentioned as a contributor. Alright, cool. I try to do +1, but yeah. Alright, cool. Check back in a week. If you haven't fixed it, just steal the code. Yeah, it's very secret code. Oh boy, would I love to steal that. I should stop doing these live streams in my evening. I just become mean. So, texture and tiling support in sprite renderer component. Okay, let's try and up the pace. So, that's funny with serialization and deserialization of scene. Texture and tiling support. Ugh. What's this, man? Set texture. Texture support. Yeah, this is not. This is obsolete. Sorry, bro. We already have that, and it's called a sprite render component. Wait, was that not a sprite render component? Wait, oh, we don't even have a. Oh. Well, yeah, just obsolete. Because we did have a sprite render component then, but it clearly didn't have texture support and tiling support, which it definitely does now. Because of course we can control the texture and the tiling factor, as you can see over here. Where was my nice scene? Why do I not have a nice scene here? You know, like one with textures and stuff. I guess we could change this stupid. Why is there example and 3D example? Why don't we change example to be cooler? Oh, physics colliders. So, because we've got textures, right? Does that save all right? Maybe I didn't check that. So red square. Let's call this Cherno square. Make it like white. Drag in the Cherno logo. Scale it up. No blending support, or at least weird blending support. And then let's make this our checkerboard. And we might make it white. We really need nearest filtering or whatever. Also scale that up. Pop it back. Really wish that one would render first. 20, 20, 20. What are the odds? They render in like a random order as far as I'm aware. Or maybe they render in the entity component system order, which I guess would be this. Because this scene hierarchy also looks at ent and iterates through it. In a different way though, actually, to be fair. Okay, cool. So, there you go. We definitely need sorting. But that's your scene. Textures work. Obviously, tiling factor also works. Ah, cool. You can... What if you go negative? Cool. Alright. Done. Did I save that? I think I saved that. Ah, it doesn't save. Textures don't get saved. Okay. Remind me, guys. Textures don't get saved. I should probably fix that. Okay. Assert single instance of I'm GUI layer. Multiple instances could be created and pushed. Dude, I'm sure multiple things of anything could be done. Do we really need to prevent the engine from shooting itself in the foot in this sense? No. No, I'm not going to add a static instance, which you've even added to the header file and not just kept here, just for this assert message. No. I'm gonna like, soon there's gonna be like a video about me on YouTube. Like, about like, oh, look at this guy. This guy is the meanest person on GitHub. Oh, this was a bad idea. I should have just let this series die. Alright. But like, is that fair? Like, oh no, I added I am GUI twice. Oh, such a common thing. Let's add some extra code to the engine, including a static like pointer in the header file, so that we can assert if that happens. Because oh yes, I did. Oh, I can't believe I accidentally added I am GUI twice. Linus is still on GitHub. That's true. I hear he's quite the mean person. Fixes 380. See, this is the problem. Is 380 a pull request or an issue? I guess because this is a pull request, it probably fixes issue 380, which is this. Font paths in Hazel break sandbox project. Oh, yes. How do they fix this though? Because is not a software fix. What is what does that mean? Is not a software fix. Well, this. Oh, this is in Sandbox. Oh, I see. Upside. Well, actually, no. It's because they copied it to Sandbox, whereas we don't want to copy it. Well, see, you guys saw what I did. I just set the working directory to be Hazelnut's working directory, and then we're good, right? Which obviously, if we had assets in Sandbox, that wouldn't exactly work, but it's fine for now because Sandbox isn't really something we take seriously, although it probably will become the runtime to some point. But just to show you guys, like what we do in Hazel. I can find to show you guys what we do in Hazel for that in real Hazel is we basically, where is this, because we do have a runtime, but we use a lot of the assets from Hazelnut, and so what we actually do is we can actually set a working directory, right, to like something like Hazelnut. And then what happens is when the runtime, when the application gets created with that application specification, not that, then you can see if the working directory has been set, it will actually std file system current path to that working directory, right? So that lets us set that. Now scenes and stuff don't really get loaded from that working directory. So like what happens is you load a project, and then that project acts as the working directory for the asset system, and obviously the asset system is what you use to actually load the assets of your game and stuff. So it's a bit different for that, but this is more for like shaders and like the cache and other like, you know, maybe some built-in fonts and actual like core engine resources, not assets for your game. So that's something that we'll probably do for that. So proposed fix, copy the font file, no, and no. Like this is not what we want to do at all. We definitely don't want to duplicate font files, and we don't like. This will be fixed in the future by setting the working directory. I'll say programmatically, meaning like not in the debugger, but in C++. That's kind of what I mean by that. Okay, move assets out of the Hazel library! ! The font files. Oh, these font files. Leave my poor font files alone. In Hazel subproject directory, initialized inside of the Hazel library, when Sandbox is run, a different working directory is used, and thus the file paths for Hazelnut are invalid. I'm reading this like a children's book. My concern is that we will have IMGUI code all over the code base. Oh, so what have they done? Oh, it's moved from IMGUI layer to editor layer. Nah. Well, see, real Hazel works totally fine with all of this stuff. Because, again, the working directory just requires that you have this present for any Hazel app, really. And if you either copy the assets because you're working on an entirely different project, or for the case of Hazel's built-in projects, the working directory is set correctly. So that's probably something I do want to do. You know, is probably programmatically set. You know what? I'm gonna make a couple of issues. Oh, that's cool. I didn't know you could do this. Other issues. This is a Cherno issue, so go away. So, so basically, what I want to do is, Sandbox kind of is a disabled project. Anyway, as you can see, it's not really what we want. And what was the other thing I wanted to do? Oh yeah, textures in sprite render component don't get serialized. Okay. So I just want to kind of just lay this somewhere, and I'll keep editing it or whatever, so that we can do that kind of stuff. All right. Implemented texture UVs offsets. Oh, okay, offsets. Yeah, not bad, but do we really need this stuff? Wait, what is this? This is in the vertex buffer. a set of UV offsets. Yeah, this is also true. I mean, this isn't bad. Like, it'd be kind of cool to do that. I just don't know if we necessarily would like that from like a UX point of view. Instead of UV offset, can't you just make the tiling factor a vector? No, because the tiling factor doesn't allow you to offset UVs. So a tiling factor just lets you scale up the image, basically. So you can make the UVs go from 0 to 1 or from 0 to 10, right? What this person's saying is, what if you want them to be offset? So this would be like 0.5 and this would be like 1.5. Or coupled with the tiling factor, you could make this like 3.0 and again 0.5. So you can't offset them. You can only scale them. So what we kind of want is kind of like a scale bias situation. At the very least, in my opinion, the offset should be a uniform instead of a vertex attribute. Okay, you're missing a few things. The first thing you're missing is that it can't possibly be a uniform because everything's done in one draw call. So it has to be in the vertex buffer. The data itself has to be in the vertex buffer so that we can do it per quad, right? Because it's batched together. But whilst the data has to be in the vertex buffer, it doesn't have to be a separate attribute because we have texture coordinates in the first place, so we can just modify them. So yeah, so it definitely does not need to be an additional attribute because we're taking in texture coordinates anyway. We can set them to whatever we want, and that's kind of the idea. Because we can offset them, and then we can do the multiplication as part of the tiling factor. You could also kind of like the tiling factor itself doesn't need to be an additional attribute either. It's just a single float though, and maybe it was easier to do it that way. But obviously, you could apply the tiling factor as part of the texture coordinates in the first place as well. So really, this can all be kind of cut. But yeah, this is a pretty decent thing to do. I just don't know. Yeah, so what I was saying was, from a UX point of view, will we really want like two little fields here in the component props that just say, hey man, this is your offset. Oh yes, I want 0.12 please. Like, or would you rather obviously have like some kind of UI which lets you actually drag like a bounding box around your sprite to be like, I want this to be the thing, right? You'd probably want this. And so the thing is, whilst this is a quick and dirty little, I want this just to work and I can figure it out just by putting in numbers, you probably want an actual, like, you know, UI to be able to crop in and kind of, you know, adjust, I guess, your view into a texture for use in like a sprite. And that obviously would let you kind of crop it or do whatever you want, and that would apply, whatever you do here in this panel would apply to like the UVs of your rectangle that you're rendering. And this isn't code. This is the panel. This is the UI panel. This is the sprite renderer component panel. Sorry, this is the properties panel, but it's the sprite renderer component. You know, component UI. So that's why, like, I don't know. But overall, I guess you guys are saying both. Well, yeah. Well, again, the only reason why I would even consider this is because it's much easier, obviously. Overall, a good. Oh, you know what? I'm going to smile. But not that. That's too unrealistic. What's a subtle smile? What's the one that? What's that slight smile? Slightly smiling face. There we go. Slightly smiling face. You guys know what I'm talking about. All right. Unnecessary need for a CPP file. Oh, we'll see what's unnecessary about this pull request. Please, no description provided. Please correct me if I'm wrong. Alright, let's see. Ah, okay. I see. So static inline, yes, which you can do in C++17, I believe. Render command.h. Yeah, but dude, like, you really... Did you really look at this code base and you were like, you know what Hazel needs? Hazel needs us to get rid of this file. Like, you guys know what I'm saying? Like, what are these pull requests? Оригинально письмо. Okay. Original email, I guess, would be the equivalent translation. And the change doesn't even remove the CPP file. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. That's a good point. Oh bro. How do you know Russian? I am Russian. That's how I know Russian. I was born in Australia, but my family is from Russia and Moldova. Anyway, yeah, like I think this is kind of summing up my experience with the community right now. It's just like, yes, technically, yes. Like if I mean, like what can I say, bro? Like, you're not wrong, right? You're not wrong. But did you really just need to go and delete a file for me? And then... But the other thing is, guys, the other thing why I don't really like this, right, is because when I made this, like, a lot of the times when I make files, they might be very empty, but then it's kind of like made with the future notion of, I'll probably expand this, you know what I mean? Like, I'll probably expand this. But the thing is, the reason why I don't like this stuff is it's kind of like when someone just really... And again, не по злому. So this is why this is... Я могу сказать, I can actually say не по злому because it seems to be Russian. But, like, not in a mean way, right? But this just feels like when you're standing around at the end of a party and everyone's cleaning and you don't really quite know how to help, but you want to help because you're worried that your mother / girlfriend / wife / friends will be like, oh, there he is again. Look at him, Cherno, standing there doing nothing as usual. So you kind of just like take like a plate and move it to another table. But don't quite put it back because you don't know where... everyone's packing stuff and you don't know where the plate goes. But you... Alright, anyway. Too real, exactly. So, this is what this feels like. Closed. Alright, let's move on. Oh, did he make another PR to remove the file? Ugh. Wait, what? He made another PR to remove the file? I forgot to delete the file in the first pull request. Amazing. Anyway, we'll see. If he replies to that and he's like, but wait, no! I did another one which you also closed that has the thing. Then, maybe I will be like, alright, fine, I'll merge in your file deletion. But yeah, I don't know. I just feel like deleting files, man, like... Anyway, whatever. I don't know. Like, see, this is what I mean. It's such a useless change. It accomplishes absolutely nothing. Not to mention, it probably makes things annoying because then when you actually do have stuff to add to this file, oh, the file's gone. But wait, wasn't it there? Oh, yeah. Derek deleted it in a pull request because... I don't know. Apparently, he has nothing better to do. This is. I'm picturing an office environment, obviously here, like where someone's actually paid to work on this, and they're like, "Well, that's my work done for Wednesday. Just deleted that unnecessary file. You know, my team's sure lucky to have me." Anyway, okay. Yes, these PRs do clutter this repository. But whatever. Alright, implemented tech. Yeah, we've done this DSA. Okay, yeah, again, this is gone because this is deprecated. That's easy. Remove unnecessary unbinds. You guys love removing unnecessary code. Because it's low-hanging fruit. See, this is what I mean. Like, I don't know, guys. Like, see, this is the thing. I'm not an open source community person. I've said this before, right? But doesn't it just feel like some of these things are just like, because they just want themselves to be like in the list of contributors for like a decently sized repository? Like, is that not just what they're doing? People trying to farm contributors. Well, exactly. So this is what I mean. It just feels disingenuous. It's like when the family vloggers make their children cry for the camera because it's more dramatic or whatever. Like, it's not. That's why the thing is, even if it's something reasonable, I almost don't want to do it because I want to be like, dude, like, you're not actually making the project better. Like, maybe we didn't need unbind, but okay. Let's use this issue as an example, because I think this issue is like a decent example of kind of what I mean, right? So bind, unbind. Unbind, technically, okay, there's actually like 5 layers to this, and I don't even know where to start. Okay, first of all, it's wildly presumptuous to say that unbind is unnecessary. Because, first of all, that's not true. Like, unbinding in general in OpenGL is necessary for some things. Like, you literally need it if you want to, like, unlink certain buffers from other buffers, right? But also, it's really, really useful for debugging. Because if you have a nice bind-unbind architecture, then instead of just leaving the old thing bound, you can be like, oh, I have nothing bound. So it's kind of like setting a pointer to null pointer after you delete the memory if you're still going to reuse the object. You don't do that because it might be necessary if you then check for null later, but it might not be necessary because you're going to reallocate the memory anyway. But by setting it to null pointer, you can then see, oh, it's in the null pointer state, meaning it's been deleted or has never been created, right? You do that because it makes debugging a lot easier. Now, sure, in release mode, you could get rid of unbind in a lot of cases because you might not need it, right? So first of all, this is very presumptuous to be like, oh yeah, unbind unnecessary. Like, yes, it might be unnecessary for you, but it might be necessary for me, right? So that's step one. Step two is the fact that if you're gonna go down this road, right, I think it's also important to consider like the future things, right? Unknown dude, thank you for the sub. It's important to consider the road in the future. So for example, if we're gonna go with Vulcan, which again, this person doesn't know this because this is from, man, 434. No, this is like a year ago. Sure, but like obviously, you know, I would never merge this in because we're gonna now deprecate this and gonna switch to Vulcan where there is no bind and unbind, so that's all gone, right? And then I had a few other layers as well, which I've forgotten about now. But yeah, just mainly the fact that, like, again, unnecessary, which is never used, and pointless. Like, look at this condescending language. It's never used and it's pointless. You're never used and pointless. Switching to Vulcan and removing OpenGL soon. As a side note, oh, but there's more, guys. All right. Gone. Change hovered entity to selected entity in stats window. Hovered entity keeps changing. Change hovered entity to get selected entity. Okay, so what's he done? He's just removed the need for hovered entity, but I mean, he hasn't removed the variable. But why? This is wrong. What the heck? He's just changed the whole functionality of this. So we have this thing called hovered entity, which is kind of cool. Right, because it lets us, kind of in real time, right? You guys can see that. Red square, green square, right? It literally says, like, what the mouse is hovering over. It was initially used for debugging, for, like, for picking, so that we could actually, like, you know, click on this kind of stuff to pick an entity, right? To select an entity. But it's kind of left over, and it's kind of cool, because it just tells us what the mouse cursor is over. So this guy comes in and he's like, nah, man, you know, you don't want to use that text area for the hovered entity. What you want to do is you want to use it for the current entity that you've got selected. So let's change it to be the currently selected entity. Why don't you change hazelnut to be like cashew or something else while you're at it? The label does what it's supposed to do. Thank you for your time. Next. Cleaned up the renderer 2D. Did you now? The render 2D class was a bit of a mess, so I took some time and cleaned it up. Now everything uses one super method for drawing. It functions exactly the same as the old code, but looks a bit nicer. Oh, guys, do we dare? Do we dare to examine this? I also don't know how old this is. This isn't very old, though. I don't think it is, right? When's this? A year ago. Okay. I haven't done much work on Hazel 2D in the last year, I think, so. Okay, so this more or less removes some stuff, probably combines some functions. Rotation is in radians. Rotation radians. Blah, blah, blah. Draw quad super. So what's this? This is draw quad super, which gets its own multi-line comment. And what does it do? Just what draw quad used to do. What? So how does that work? What? I don't understand this. Oh, and he's done it all on one line. Why have you done it on one line? Why? Why would you make a super line? I mean, he made a super quad. I feel like what he meant to say was like Uber, because that's a common term in the industry. People love their Uber shaders and Uber whatever, which is kind of the same thing, but. So hold on, so how is this working? So, because look, so he does pass in the texture, but where does the texture go? Oh, it's not showing me everything. Okay, I was gonna say, where's all the stuff? Yeah. No, I mean overall this is probably a good change. It just removes some of the code duplication. I just don't know if I can live with it being called draw quad super, that's all. I think we'll revisit this. We will revisit this once we implement Vulkan, because we're going to have to anyway. Because we're going to have to change some of the renderer 2D stuff. I mean, renderer 2D, like, what does that do exactly? Start batch, end scene, flush. So what does flush do? Yeah, quad shader bind. Yeah, so we're going to have to revisit renderer 2D when we implement Vulkan. So I think we'll probably come back to this. We'll come back to this once Vulkan is implemented. So I'll leave it open for now, because generally it's not that bad. It's definitely a lot better than the other garbage we've seen. Oh, this is 0x. Alright, let's take a look at this. Per comments on 336, memory is leaked every time a native script component isn't saturated. Yeah, I don't know what I want to do with that. Hi, I was analyzing the project for possible bugs, and specifically memory leaks. As you do when you're trying to farm contributions, I guess. Just on the grind to get, you know, added to repositories as a contributor. That's my Sunday. Okay, so what's the actual problem here? we don't call destroy script something apparently. I'll just read the code. Ugh, so this now becomes an std function. I kind of didn't want that to happen though. I kind of liked the raw nature of it. I think we're going to revisit native scripting. We'll revisit this once C# scripting has been added. Okay, let's just refresh it. How many do we have? 43. Not bad. Not bad. Oh, remember, some of these open ones are good, right? Some of these open ones are good. Remove short-term gulp. Oh. You know what the worst kind of pull request is? The readme edit pull request. Like, yes. Okay, bro. Oh, wow. We wanted to do this by the end of 2020. Let's take a look at our short-term goals, which we slightly missed. By the end of 2020, we want to make a game using the Hazel game engine. Not like the time I made a game in 1 hour, but this time by using proper tools that would be required to make a game. Yeah, so like the editor. This means we would need to add a full 2D workflow, design the game scene using Hazelnut, test the game inside Hazelnut, including ability to save load the created game, load and play the game inside Sandbox. So we can kind of do these two. We can't do this really, but that's pretty trivial to add, because the runtime obviously exists since we can play it inside Hazelnut. We want everybody to be able to play the game on all desktop platforms. Ambitious. When this is implemented, another attempt at creating a game will be made to see how far the engine is plumbed. Yeah, we kind of did that in Hazel 3D at the end of 2021, but sure. Yeah, cool. I guess like overall, yes, we should probably do that, but how about I handle the README? How about I handle the README? Okay, removed unused code. Oh, another beautiful pull request. Cleanup crew. Samplers. This is unused. I mean, it does look like a local variable. Oh, man. You know what these guys do? They head out with their tools. It's like a Sunday morning, and they're like, all right, boys, it's 5 a.m. It's time to go hunting. They go onto the GitHub, onto the open source communities. They start checking out Hazel repositories, and then they've launched their tools. They use the PVS Studio. They use the Visual Studio, just the normal compiler with all the warnings. And they're like, oh, aha. That's a card. That should be a uint, not a size T. That should be, we will add that cast and we'll add that pull request in. Like literally, you could probably write a bot that just goes through and farms this. Actually, guys, that would be a fun project. Let's write a bot that goes through GitHub and submits pull requests of fixing like compiler warnings and stuff. Like that actually would be super fun. And probably not that difficult in the basic case. Oh, Dependabot. There were bots doing that during Hacktoberfest. Of course, someone's done it already. No, I was not planning to do that. I have enough work on my plate. I have enough work on my plate. That's the metaphor. Anyway, goodbye. I could just say obsolete, but I like my unused code. I like to keep it around, you know? Keep the CPU running. You don't want it to be idle. Alright, small refactor of native script component. Yeah, that's what I said. That's what we did already. Added estimated time remaining to download and unzip. Yes. Don't you guys love it when you're downloading something for your game engine setup and you just need to know how many seconds it will take. And also this much discussion. Bros. If we put this much effort into something useful, we might already have Vulcan in the engine. This is nuts. Like, guys. Oh no, lovely Santa. Lovely Santa got sucked in. He got sucked into the black hole of Python scripts. Oh. Oh man. This is insane. I have no words for that. I'm gonna leave that open. I fixed the build that used Python in my repository, added pip. Okay, so pip. What's this check colon show pip? Yeah, that's actually pretty good, man. I'm against this solution. Lol. Well, I guess it's not pretty good. Now, I'm not a Python person, but... Oh, yes, it should be in setup Python. Oh, 3. Okay, sure. Well, I guess I'll just leave this open then. Damn. I thought Thomas Lihorau. I thought you had it. I thought you had done it. But you have not done it. Oh well. Alright, dragging entities with the mouse. The current version of Hazel 2D does not let you move entities around using the mouse. Oh. Ah yes, 28 files changed. Sure. Yep, I can see why you needed to add or remove string cast from here and... Bro, changing magnification from linear to nearest is not necessary to drag entities with the mouse. Ah, yeah, let me just change your static runtime while I'm at it, bro. Holy smokes, dude. And dragging entities with the mouse, like that's not like this is a game engine. This isn't After Effects. You don't drag things with the mouse. You click on it and then you move it, because dragging with the mouse wouldn't really make sense. Since we're in a 3D space. We can't just click and drag this. Where are you gonna drag it to? Unless you're perfectly like orthonormal or whatever. I'm not even writing messages anymore. I've actually got a little bit of a headache now. I blame you guys. Alright. Drag a texture directly into the viewport. Okay. Until now. Since the dawn of time, humans have created sprite components. But now, with my solution, ooh, fake lobster! Let's go! He's in. This must be a good issue. Drag a texture. Okay, so until now, to add a texture to the sprite render component, the image has to be dragged onto the texture button. Oh, how difficult in the scene. And I mean, that's obviously temporary, guys. It's a button. We have a texture button that we can just drag stuff onto in the scene hierarchy panel. Now, in addition, one can drag a texture image directly onto a component in the viewport. What does that even mean? Onto a component in the viewport. But components aren't in the viewport. Is that the component UI? What I thought it meant is that you can just like, you know, grab a texture from here and drag it into the viewport and it will automatically make a new entity for you with a sprite render component and that texture applied. That's what I thought. Well, I guess we can look at the code because as usual, people are just so bad at explaining things that looking at the code is often better. Why? What's this? Oh, did he added it with Vague Lobster's code or whatever. Is that him? Yes. So he commented out his own code, but just left it in there because, you know, I worked hard writing this code. But yes, Vague Lobster must... Okay, so yeah, if the file extension is a PNG, so this only works for PNGs. Then we'll load it and create an entity out of it. So I was kind of correct. No, actually, onto hovered entities. Ah. So you can drag this onto an already existing entity. And we obviously know which one we're hovering over because if you look at hovered entity, we can actually see which entity we're hovering over. That's cool. That's definitely a cool suggestion. I would do it. I just don't like the code though. Like, why is there like, I don't know, 20 lines of comments, 10 lines of comments? Yeah, so we just check to see if it's Hazel or this. Yeah, it's not bad. So I guess I'll say, well, actually there's been a lot more discussion. Let's see what it says. Initially, I use the extension of an action as PNG, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, we obviously don't really, like, it's fine for now, but we could definitely, like, have some kind of asset manager obviously be like, hey, this is an image file, you know, rather than just, like, .png, and if it matches that, but whatever. A nice feature. Please remove comments, remove He gets a thumbs up. Cool, I like that. Yeah, it's like a 2-minute task to add. So it's not particularly difficult. Like I could just slap it in there, but I guess I'm being nice by just saying that, you know, let's let the community get the contribution thing. Oh, did I close it? That was an accident. Whoops. Overall a nice feature. Closed. All right, add component code block refactor. We're almost there, guys. We're almost on the front page, on the first page. Oh man, it's just getting late. In scene hierarchy panel, when we press, I have to finish this though. In scene hierarchy panel, when we press add component button, it displays a list of menu items stating which components could be added. The code for drawing this menu was a bit repetitive. Was it? Oh, it's Cybernet hacker again. That does look nice. Oh, guys. Guys. Has Cybernet Hacker actually made it? I think he did this. I think he actually did it. I think he's actually gonna, I don't know if he's a contributor. Is he a contributor? I think he might make the list of contributors finally. He's probably already here, isn't he? Can I search contributors? Oh, no, he's already here. Right, never mind. Look at you guys. Oh, who's the nerd made it? That's a shame. That was the guy that I didn't like. Look at all of you contributors. Yeah, this is good. This is pretty good. I'm assuming it works. I haven't really tested it, but yeah, this is the same pattern we follow for drawing components. So this is actually good. And yeah, good. So Peter, your stuff, is that stuff in master? Oh, Baked Lobster even tested it. Squash and merge. This is the first thing we've merged today, I believe. I guess we should test it. I'll just pull quickly. So that's in the scene hierarchy panel. So now we've got oh, the components panel, right? This. Just do a little compile, make sure everything's still building. Cool, alright. Whatever, good enough. It's page 1, yes. I knew I didn't recognize anything. Simplify UID hash specialization. Just a quick note, I wanted to call out after watching the UID video which popped up on my feed the other day. The purpose of STD hash is to create a uniformly distributed value from some type. Hash UN64 exists because blah blah blah. Uninherently, however, that is uniformly distributed because there's no. Oh yeah, that's a great point. Are we hashing the UUID? That's funny. Did I really write that code? Okay, yeah, the UUID doesn't need hashing because the UUID is an ID. It's unique. That's a bit comical. I'll do a little sweat smile. All right. Yeah, I think I remember seeing something about that, I think. Because it says, yeah, there's no need to hash something that is already unique. Or like uniquely distributed like that because it's randomized. Fixed time GUI include files. Oh, it's Cybernet hacker again. Bro, this guy's going for this guy. You know what this guy's doing? This guy's trying to, what is he like now? Like top 5? He's number 3. He's trying to get onto Lovely Santa's level. Look at that. I mean, he's got a fair while to go, but he's making a comeback. Look at that. Lovely Santa. Don't see anything from Lovely Santa. So, oof, he's coming in hot. And what's he done this time? Pulling and updating the latest changes of the AMGUI submodule will throw errors. Yeah, well, my stuff builds, so. This only applies if you update the submodule. Bro, you're not gonna update the submodule. I'm gonna update the submodule. That's a major change. So, we're not updating the submodule yet. So this isn't an issue. We'll take a look at it when it's time to update it for like Vulkan and stuff, but it's obviously going to be past what he has updated it to back in September, considering I just pushed an update to it like last week. So that's not something we need. Guys, I think we might be on page 1. We're on page 1. Add unit test support. What are you testing? Oh my goodness. Bro. This is the equivalent of me being like, added Vulkan, and then just adding the Vulkan libraries. And that's it. Like, bro, you're not unit testing anything. You just added the unit testing libraries and then been like, you know, I should probably like throw in a test or something, right? And then you throw in like, I can't even find it, it's gone. I just saw it. And then you throw in like, let's test the logger, guys. What should it be? Oh, it should be null pointer. Yep, test complete. Then we'll, I don't know, initialize the logger. And then, guys, it shouldn't be null pointer anymore. Bro, thank you so much for this unit test. I don't know how we would have maintained quality in Hazel if it wasn't for this. You know what else would have done this? This, but without Google tests. Switch to closed source. I love how many of you guys are for closed source. That's funny. Hey, how about we just initialize the logger and then just have an actual runtime assert that just makes sure it's there. If we even need that, which we don't really, but that's done. That's your unit test, bro. If he had actual unit tests, like I get that this might be done through like, I don't know, GitHub Actions or something. It's obviously flows through a different pipeline than runtime and whatever, but like, how is the assert gonna log without logs? It probably uses a different logging library. It probably uses Google Tests logging library to log the test messages. Oh no. But the thing that gets me, guys, is that this isn't even trivial. This isn't like some oh man, look who it is. It's Cybernet Hacker. He's in here. He's like, oh no, that's his commit. Wait, what? So is this, or maybe he just merged it in or whatever. Or he, whatever. Oh. This isn't even like a trivial thing. This isn't like a readme like fix or, you know, removing something from the readme. This is like a full on like, bro, I added a submodule and like wrote a test even. Good night, 0x. This is... I don't even want to close that at this point, just because it feels like a lot of work, but we don't need unit testing. Not to that extent. The GitHub Action stuff might be interesting. I might take a look at the GitHub Action stuff there. Okay. Describe the issue. A clear and concise description of what the issue is. Explain the difference between... Oh, right, okay. This is part of it. Serialize and deserialize. This is the description. I thought they just didn't describe it and they just copied and pasted the template. But they didn't delete this. Serialize and deserialize were two large functions. I thought it might become hard to manage. Oh, no, 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 no. No, 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 no. No. Wait, what? No, 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 no. This is hard to manage. When you break up one function into like 500. Bro, you don't need a function for each component type that you want to serialize and then deserialize. If they're in one place, they're way easier. And there were previous he had. So they're also from him. All components should maybe be a template. What is this, an issue? This has been solved, hasn't it? No, this I don't like. I don't want to have a separate function for each possible thing to deserialize and serialize. Like, the only advantage, I guess, here, to be honest, is that you could just iterate through all of them, and then if you're missing... No, I mean, I guess this isn't the worst thing in the world, because the advantage here is that you iterate through the variadic template, which contains all the components, and you try and call a serialize function for each component. And I guess the order would be the order that you define them in there, which is fine, in that original list of types. And then... the cool thing here, I guess, is that if you've added a new component type, but you forgot to add a serialization function for it, and as long as it's in that list of all components, then it will actually give you a compile error. Because, well, maybe if you have like a static assert or something in the non-specialized template, because you don't have that for it. So that's probably not. That's probably not bad. I thought that he had just broken this up into functions, but it looks like the purpose of this is actually to go through all components, I guess. Right? And yeah, that's what's happening here. So it's a variadic template that's being expanded. So overall, this probably isn't bad, I think. I think this would probably, even though I would rather keep it in one function, I imagine, would probably make it a little bit more robust. So yeah, this is good, but it's too late in the evening for this, so I'll leave it open for now. Alright, refactored include order. Oh my gosh. And of course it's Cybernet Hacker. In a recent video, Cherno explained how he wants the include order of his files to be like. Most people look at this and they're like, oh yeah, cool, Cherno likes his includes this way. But Cybernet Hacker looks at this and says, oh, you're saying you like your includes in a particular order? Looks like a potential pull request and more contribution to Hazel for me. That is hilarious. Thanks, Brajanowski for the Prime sub. Appreciate the support. Force pushed. Of course he force pushes. Oh, 5 days ago. Your boy's keeping this up to date. 14. Oh my goodness. I mean, like, he's not wrong. Like, so far this is my ideal include order. That's hilarious. Do you guys know my ideal include order? I bet you don't. I bet he does. he clearly does, because he's 100% correct right now. But I do actually have an ideal include order. Well, no, okay. Maybe he's not 100% correct, because I would actually put this, like, I would have this stuff alphabetically, like within this list of 3. So I'd probably have, you know, like math first and then scene and then utils, just by folder, I mean. Well, by whatever's here. But yeah, I mean, this is definitely closer than what it was. It's amazing. Dev had recent pushes 12 minutes ago. Oh no, wait, what branches is being merged into? Uh-oh. Oh no. Master. Dev. What was merged into dev? Did I merge something into dev? Oh, this. So I guess I have to probably merge that from... Yeah, right. Sure. I just assume these were all going into master. Yeah, because dev should kind of be deleted probably. Well, for now. And then branched off again or something. Okay, fix new scenes being overridden by old scene. When you load a scene and then create a new one via Control N, then your new scene will be overwritten the next time you try to play the scene. Ah. Okay. Damn, look at this, guys. Clever sauce with the cat. Ryan with the cat. See, this is what I love to see. I love to see clear indications of what's up. A fix. Paying attention to recent videos. Reproduction steps for each bug. And a proposed fix. Clever Sauce is clearly just a great cat. This is brilliant. And what's the change? Which can't be merged apparently. Oh, we still didn't have Control S. So open the editor in debug mode, load a random scene, create a new scene, press play, your scene will now be overwritten permanently. Huh. That's cool. Is this still a thing? I guess we should probably try this, right? So open the editor, load a random scene, create a new scene via like Control N and then press play. Wait. My scene will be overwritten permanently? I probably shouldn't make sure it's in version control then. Okay, let's try that, yeah. Okay, so we've got example.hazel. Let's open like physics 2D, right? So then Control N, then play. And then stop. Well, now I'm back in example. Now I'm back in Hazel. Huh. So I guess this is no longer a thing then. Because if I make a new scene but then hit play, well, I mean, that shouldn't happen either. So that's kind of a bug, but I don't think anything is getting overwritten. Version control is happy. Nothing has changed for this physics test. But yeah, why does it play that scene? So basically, I think what happens, I guess, is the editor layer, when we go new scene, it doesn't reset. It resets the active scene, but I guess when we hit play, it copies the editor scene. So the problem is that, I guess, yeah, new scene. I think, yeah, I don't know why, but the way this should really be written is new scene creates an editor scene, and then we can set active scene to editor scene, and then we do whatever we do with the active scene as normal. But the idea is you should definitely create it as like an editor scene. I don't think active scene should ever really be created. Active scene should just be set to whatever the current scene should be. So I think that will probably fix it. And that's probably all we need to do. So, oh, my new scene gets overwritten. That's what you meant. So, but now that shouldn't work. So Control N, play. Yeah. So that's still on this. Yeah, I could see that happening, obviously, because, yeah, sure, that makes sense. All right, open the editor in debug mode. Try to create an editor. Well, yeah, you'll just lose that scene because you never saved it. Is the point. Try to create an entity in the scene hierarchy panel. Yes, that I've experienced a lot. Attempt to press play. Yeah. First to set active scene to edit a scene and initializing edit a scene and oh, that's like perfectly. Yes. Yeah, that's basically how I did it just then. I just did the active scene a bit higher. So that you resize the active scene, not the editor scene, but it's basically the same thing. No, this is perfect. And if it doesn't equal edit, it doesn't let you. Yeah, that's great. Alright, good. Love. Clever Source so far is definitely up there. I think we saw something else by that cat earlier as well. Alright. You guys are too meta. You're spending too much time. You're spending too much time with the Python scripts, bro. I didn't even add class method. I don't know who added class method. I don't know who cares. What is the deal with this? Like, I don't know. I actually don't know who added class method, but I also feel like I don't care. And then while they're at it, they renamed CLS to self, which is probably what I would have called it, but blame time. Fine. Fine. We will blame that. So where was that? In setup, right? So what kind of clown did that? Let's blame. Aha, setup script reworked. Damn, some guy just came in. This is gonna take me there. Aha, Ujwal Raut. This guy with the following email address has co-authored by Lovely Santa. Aha. Of course, Lovely Santa's name is all up in here. Anyway, I don't care is the short thing. I'm not the one who did that. Before me, it was simpler, I think. No, apparently this is just... Oh, right, yeah, there wasn't even a setup Python because there was probably some other file. It was all in one file or something, but then I made Hazel 3D work a little bit kind of like this, I guess. This is similar to that, but it's just a bit more, you know, Python-y or whatever with extra class method or whatever decorations. This, adds the long missing save feature. Yeah, the save feature. Yeah, I mean, look. Yes, we can't save. Well, we can save. We just can't. We can only save as. We can't save. But yes, this, I'm assuming this will work. Duplicated code, but at least it works for now. Okay, this save feature, this is going, I'm gonna wind down this stream in a minute. This, save feature is coming into here. Visualization for circle collide. Excuse me, we've got that. Yeah, but doesn't that already work? Ah, I don't think it does. I think the reason why it kind of works here is because this is at an offset. So if I cancel the offset, right? Yeah, you can't see the circle here because the offset is obviously done in that way. Whereas I guess they're saying you should offset it with the camera forward direction times the Z index, and then we take the 0 from that. Yeah. Is that what we want though? Oh, that doesn't rotate, does it? I mean, I guess this is on a 2D plane. Because what I was thinking of is you don't really have to... I would probably fix it a different way. Just because it's very, where's the... Oh, rotation, right. I'd probably just say that if the camera, like, is... Oh, because it does move that way. If the camera is... Whoa. What the heck happened there? Wait, where did it go? What? Oh, it's just way off. Sorry. That's funny. If the camera is... if the camera's, like Y rotation or whatever, is beyond a certain point, you can just display them all behind or something, because they can never get rotated and stuff. Otherwise, you could just probably dot the two together or something and see, you know, kind of what angle you're looking at it from. But I don't think I'd do it that way, because I don't think the camera forward direction necessarily has anything to do with that. Like, yeah. Because my problem with this is the camera forward direction times an arbitrary value like this. Like, yes, that is going to get you into the right space, but the value is not going to be this. I mean, you could definitely use this to see if it's positive or negative and then multiply with that. But the thing is, I don't want it to... Like, the distance will change. Well, this is in the rendering. This is in the rendering for the Circle Collider. It's just for this specific use case, though, to avoid, like, Z fighting and also for them to be behind or whatever. Let's take a look at this quickly. No, we shouldn't. Okay, 517. I'll do this next time. 517. Okay. We'll take a look at it next time because I'm running out of time here. It's almost 9 o'clock. Need to get home to the family. Added missing entity ID parameter. Entity ID isn't passed into drawLine. Yeah, because drawLines don't... They're not really entities. When do you... Ugh. I mean, it's passed into drawRect, though, I guess. That's probably why. Though that entity ID stuff, that only exists for, well, for picking, basically, for mouse picking. So I don't really think draw rectangle or whatever needs to take in entity ID, though. Will you still tell us what you vaguely mentioned at the start of the stream? Yes, I'll do it at the end of the stream, so stay tuned. Right, so draw a line just has an optional and that's not passed. I guess that's fair then. Let's merge that in. Especially because we can just squash and merge. My favorite. How many times have I pressed that button? Let's reload the page. I'm scared. It's going to ruin everything. Changed logo with respect to GitHub appearance. What is this? Solves issue 411. Recently, GitHub announced a new dark mode, and the Hazel logo is barely visible. Adding a what? Oh no. GitHub supports this feature now. Append that after the image link to only make the image appear for dark mode. Oh my goodness. This is just too much. Taken from the thumbnail of this video. Drawing rotated quads. Let's do this next time. Because I don't want to play with that now. Fixed vertex array layout. Vertex array layout issue for shaded data type mat3, mat4. Vertex attribute pointer only accepts 1, 2, 3, 4 as count argument. Okay, well that's cool. Get component count. What the heck? Right, okay, so this combines these two, and then if it's 3, 3, 4, 4 count versus what? What would this have returned? Where's the buffer stuff? Get component count. Oh, here we go. Mat 4, 4. Mat 3, 3. Yeah, so it's the same thing. Was it not always the same thing? Opposite. Well, but this is new, isn't it? It's December. Has this already been fixed? Wait, am I misreading it? It used to be get component count. For mat 3 and mat 4, element get component count, which returns 3 or 4 for mat 3 or mat 4. So it's the same thing. Just minus like an extra if check for no reason. And then how hard coding it. What the heck? When was this? December. Has something gone in that's changed that? Since December? This is December. Doesn't look like it. No, it hasn't. And I mean, actually, the stuff that he's changing, well, I mean... Okay, whatever. AMD issues with SPURV shaders. Yeah, I saw this earlier. This is a big can of worms. Let's leave that open for now. Split up editor layer on IMGUI render into sub functions following the intro. Yeah, okay, that's okay. I think that's probably a good thing to do, actually. Can this be? This probably can't be merged, can it? Because I've edited stuff 6 months ago. Good. Restructure readme. Ah, you guys are just too into your readmes. Editor camera should only process events during edit time. Well, Should it though? We might want to switch to that. Yeah, no, that's that. I mean, this part of it's true. Yeah, okay. We'll merge that in for now. I hate this update editor. Don't call your commit messages update editor layer.cpp. Tell me what you actually did. Oh, sync Hazel window title. Damn, this is a lot of stuff. And it's also not mergeable. How do you even set a scene name though? Is that just the... Okay, we can look at this next time. I don't know if that's that great because I don't know, hazelnut scene titles. It's changed static assert condition. There is a static assert false, which gives us a kind reminder to add that. Compilation fails while this is but only compiles using Visual C++. While it's on this board, it should be fixed since compile dependent code. Sure. Wait, so what have you done? What have you done? What have you done? Okay, nice alignment. But also, what? One component added. Static assert. This is commented out for some reason. Static assert. So what? Static assert size of t equals 0. Is that the equivalent of false? No, it's not. Oh, you're asserting. Sorry. Yeah, no, okay. Yep, yes it is. Because you can't have something the size of a 0. That's a very big hack, though. Like, it seems very hacky. I'd probably add a comment to that, just be like static assert false. Because apparently you can't static assert false. That's the dumbest thing ever. See, this is why I like MSVC. Just lets you do that. Whatever. Can't merge anything. I also like the fact that you tested it on 2 systems and you specified like the CPU you used and everything. This is so thorough. A fixed use of file system relevant. The use of that in the main loop results in huge slowdowns. Yes, that's true. Using the name, you get faster than we're not doing an actual drag drop. Yeah. Drock approved these changes. Who's Drock? Who is Drock? And why is he approving changes? That's funny. So... Oh, this is an easy fix. Okay. Yeah. Okay, good. This is fair enough. Drock. Yeah, Drock. No, that was good though. I was thinking it was something else. So that's okay. Why? Why did 4 people love this commit that restructures readme MD, and meanwhile all this like other actual good stuff I haven't seen a single heart anywhere. What's going on? Div align sent. What, you can do HTML and CSS stuff now in Markdown for this. Oh my goodness. I think we can, because I did, didn't I do, oh, I said I would, but I didn't. What was the other? So there's 2 readme ones. There's a restructure readme, and there's the Hazel logo garbage. So that's 519 and 541. I hope it's the right one. Whatever. Yeah. Okay, next. Implemented setup pre-make to download latest pre-make. Release. 3 upvotes. Sounds good. Oh my gosh. Another little heart. That's actually the second time I've seen a heart. Get latest pre-make version. The problem is I don't actually want the latest pre-make version because I think it's not I think it's a bit, it's they don't always work correctly or something. I don't know. I don't know. Peter, I think, had some problems with pre-make. So my point is I don't necessarily want to just blindly get the latest one. So I prefer to just, yeah, not always get the latest pre-make release. We have a specific one, and I think that's probably better. Is after all one word or 2? Two, but oh, there it is after all. I was looking at the bold text. Yeah, I don't know why I thought it was 1. It's a bit weird. It's getting late, that's why. Hazel and Sandbox builds a release build without console. No, person. I want the console, bro. Release is not a distribution build. Update the old texture comparison behavior. Replacing this through casting with get render ID. Oh, because that just has it. Yeah, sure, even though it's unnecessary. Because we'll be switching to Vulkan, but sure. Takes as much time as closing a PR, so why not? I hate people who don't actually, like, what? You haven't described the issue at all. apart from the fact that it solves this. During physics simulation. What physics simulation? Isn't physics simulation new? New scene during... Oh, that was in the other thing. Oh, we're getting into new stuff, guys. This is 18 days ago. This is since we rebooted the series. Fixed physics collider offset visualization. Wow. No, that's... Oh. Does not match the actual position of the collider when using offset. Are you sure? This doesn't really prove anything. Oh, there we go. Oh, that's what it's supposed to... Oh, I see. Right, that's the collider. Yeah, that would be weird. During runtime, yep. Okay, this looks good, but why do you have a billion commits? And 3 files changed. Rotation. Oh, no. Okay, this is something for next time. Implemented platform agnostic get time. Yeah, that's better. That is pretty good. Except, yeah, I don't think I would put it in a class called time. I'd probably put it into a class called platform. But you're close enough. So if you can be merged, which you can. Let's just merge that. Oh my gosh, the stupid Python scripts. I regret everything. See ya, Alfredo. Now always downloads the latest Vulkan SDK. Dude, stop it with downloading latest things. We don't want to download latest things ever. Do you remember that time we downloaded the latest Vulkan SDK and then they literally removed that release because it didn't work? Yeah, I do. What was the thing I just closed? The pre-make. Was it by the same guy? No. Yes, no latest. Thank you. Alright. Additional scope and ref functions is there isn't an issue. Yep. Get scope. The heck? Cast ref. I mean, we can have this stuff for now, but like we're gonna change the way these work though. So what does get ref do? It makes this, like, creates, though this is a bit dodgy because this is gonna create a shared pointer for you out of a raw pointer basically. Which, again, could be good, but it depends. Like, and I don't know if I would call it get ref. Don't really like it. Okay, so we're left with point. That's it, though. We got through all the pulled requests. I've looked at all of them, I'm fairly sure. yeah, some of them we're going to go through again. And not just again, but like when I have more time. So this is kind of my to-do list before major work happens. Which is pretty minor, to be honest. All this stuff should be done in one stream, I imagine, next week, when we'll do the game engine series again. But yeah, I think that for now, though, when did I mention this? Oh, I fixed as part of that. Yeah, I remember that. Okay. But in general, I think we're not bad. Let's do a little... Let's just pull, because obviously I've done some stuff here. Yeah, that I can revert, because it doesn't really matter. Let's just do a little pull here. Just because with all the extra stuff we've done. And just make sure that stuff actually still builds. Let's do a little build. But otherwise... I think some of those PRs were pushing to Devonson Master. Yeah, you're right. I think only one of them was, though. Okay. Yeah, that seems to work. Yep. Try release as well. Yeah, the code there's no real code style, I think. There is one kind of for Hazel Dev, which I loosely wrote out, but yeah. Okay, anyway, that's pretty much it. Now, I did want to mention one more thing, as I said at the end, and that was to do with, like, what we are gonna basically do next. So my original plan was to implement Vulkan as like a next step. So once we clean up everything that we're doing as part of this PR stuff, right? We're cleaning everything up and making sure it's kind of clean. As well as any like outstanding pull requests and fixes and stuff like that make their way into the engine before we basically branch off and implement Vulkan. But I have had a small change of heart. I think that maybe, and I'm gonna kind of leave this up to you guys, but we'll see. We'll see how strongly I feel about this. But I think that maybe instead of just jumping right now into Vulkan, maybe it would be better for us to add like C# scripting first. The reason being is that that way, if we have C# scripting, we can actually build something small, right, within like the Hazel that we have. Because as soon as we have C# scripting, like that's it. We've got box 2D physics. We've obviously got rendering, and we can render like textures and everything. We can build something like, you know, within Hazel, have like a little game to play kind of within the editor. And then that way, when we switch to Vulkan, we'll actually have like, hey, look, this is the game like before in OpenGL. And then now we actually have something to validate our Vulkan implementation. Otherwise, like the only thing I'm thinking about is it might be a little bit not weird, but less fun to be like, you know, hey guys, so we did it, we're now switched to Vulkan and this is all we've got, you know, because it's the same thing as what we had before. So it might just be a bit more visually exciting for it to kind of be, you know, a little bit more complex. And the other thing is obviously like C# scripting has nothing to do with like the renderer. So it's not like we're piling on tech debt or whatever, and then we're going to have to, it's going to be harder to add Vulkan. It's not. Scripting is such an independent system from rendering and stuff that like it just does not matter, honestly. So I'm leaning towards maybe doing that first, even though Vulkan is going to be so much easier for me to do than obviously the C# scripting stuff with Mono, just because that's something that I haven't touched in years, and Peter is kind of the person who's more or less in charge of that now in Hazel 3D, who he does say he's here to help. But yeah, so yeah, I think you know, I'll do a loose little poll right now just to see what you guys think. And then yeah, we'll just see like what you guys are just thinking. But again, I'm kind of leaning towards that just because you know, that would give us something a little bit more tangible. Okay, yeah, I guess people are mostly saying I'll show stream as well for those of you watching on YouTube, because this will go up on YouTube soon, of course, in a day or so, day or two. So at the moment, that's kind of what the Twitch people are thinking. I can vote as well. But yeah, okay, cool. So yeah, you guys are pretty comfortable with that. But yeah, I think scripting might be nice because again, it'll just give us something that that we can use to build a game. And I'm probably gonna get Tim as well, who isn't here right now because it's like 9 o'clock. It's 9 p.m. I should really go home. I'm probably gonna get Tim to actually build, like, make some art for the game and make like literally a little platformer or something small, maybe just like one scene, you know, that we can actually test out and kind of play, you know, within Hazel 2D, using the C# scripting, because we'll need to test out scripting obviously. And then while that's kind of happening, I might start, you know, well, after that's done, we can kind of implement Vulkan, and then we can actually have like something tangible that we can then run using Vulkan. And I think I'm also going to do the Vulkan thing in kind of 2 parts. So my plan with the Vulkan thing is, I think what I'll do is, because I said originally I'm going to make it all like multi-threaded and re-architect the whole Hazel engine, like the whole application, you know, and everything. Okay, so 80%, 80-20, cool. 53-13, cool. I did say I would kind of do that straight away. I think what I might do though is I might break it up into 2 parts. The first part will be basically just changing over OpenGL into Vulkan, but still keeping the engine single-threaded as it is at the moment. And then the next step will be like, okay, how do we take that and build upon it and make it multi-threaded? The reason being that I'm pretty confident that I could probably take everything we have in Hazel 2D and switch it over to Vulkan in a day. And I might just have a marathon like stream where it's just I sit down in one day, I record it so that it's all like it can be put up as a video, and then we sit down, we plan, like I explain loosely like how Vulkan works and all the things we're going to need, and it's basically going to be like a little tutorial almost on how to take something, convert it into Vulkan, and it'll just be in like one video and in one live stream. So that's kind of what I'm thinking. That would be fun, and then we can take it and then obviously be like, all right, how do we, like, let's set up a render thread for the application, let's maybe think about how we can move some of this Vulkan work as well into different threads and whatever. So that's kind of the plan. So yeah, hope you guys enjoyed the live stream or the video if you're watching this on YouTube. Have a great rest of your day or night, and I will see you next time. Goodbye.